Greetings and welcome to Into the Nexus, the Heroes of the Storm podcast. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, and I'm joined by Kyle Ferguson. Kyle, how you doing? We're recording at a weird time on a weird day.
I know. Good morning.
Yeah, exactly. It's very morning for you, and it's still technically morning for me.
Internet was out last night for me.
That's all you got to say? That's all you have to say for yourself?
I was amazed at the punctuality of they're actually turning it back on, though it would have been nice to know that they were going to turn it off in the first place. So I had a lovely evening. The internet was completely out, so basically any work I could do just couldn't happen. We ended up watching the making of on old DVDs like Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones, and playing the Ravenloft D&D board game.
The making of Indiana Jones is my go-to for when I am sick and without internet. Like when those two things collide, that's exactly what I watch. So I'm glad to hear that you had a nice offline evening.
I did skip Temple of Doom because, I just can't watch that justification happen.
Justification? What? The entire movie that was made just so Steven Spielberg could get a pretty girl?
Yeah, it happens. We all do some weird things for love.
Yeah, if I was able to make an entire movie to put a girl I fancied into it so she would like me, I probably would. So I can't really fault him. But damn, that's a bad movie.
Yeah. It is, though. Man, they're remaking Poltergeist, which I just can't even... It's such a great movie, and I only just saw it like 2 months ago.
Yeah, and it's funny, we... You shouldn't have mentioned that, because I'm like, yeah, we should do it. It's such a big show. We have so much to talk about. But damn it, I want to mention Poltergeist real fast, because I guess the folks that are working on it worked on the Evil Dead remake, which I loved. I absolutely loved it. I'm a huge Evil Dead fan, and I thought it was spectacular. It was one of the most disturbing and just, like, it was like watching a frenzy. Like, it was just so disturbing, and I loved it. It just, what a horrifying film.
Well, and for me, like, I knew nothing about the movie other than the fact of, kid against the TV, they're here. So the twist, they just have it in the new trailer. I don't know. I'm upset. But we had an excellent patch this week.
Yeah.
Certainly threw things into a bizarre place. But
I'm going to say, I'm not sure I'd say excellent, but okay. All right.
No, I think in the long run, this is an excellent choice. And we're going to have some great things come out of this. But initially, we were all left wondering why.
I'm still wondering why. And it's funny you mentioned long run, because that's every game we're in now. Goes to 30 minutes at least.
Yeah, that's true. Though actually, the Egyptian level, because the way the shrines work, I mean, that has like a hard cutoff at 22 minutes.
That particular one, yes. But every other map... or battleground seems to go to 30 minutes, like to a like, oh, you could like sit or watch by it. I don't know. It's we'll be talking about it shortly. It's because all of the talents that let you actually kill people has been moved to 20.
Fair enough.
1 through 19 is just kind of beating each other with wiffle ball bats,
which is fine. I mean, if you succeed in getting to 20 before someone else, I'm okay with you rolling with it and taking the game.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know. I'd like to see things maybe parsed out a little better. Just like, here's all the awesome stuff right there, and all the rest of this stuff is kind of incidental stuff all the way through. But we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about it right now. This week's news.
We're on, boys! Ha ha! Let's liven up this place!
Put me to the stage.
Stay a while and listen.
So just a reminder, well, I'm not sure it's a reminder because I don't think we ever properly announced that on the show. We have a subreddit where you can go and submit stories or upvote submissions for the next episode. It's itncast.reddit.com. Already got some folks posting over there, and we'll be doing some giveaways over there shortly, so check it out. Anywho, the big news this week is obviously the patch and the new heroes that came with it. I say hero, it's one hero, but it's technically plural because, Kyle, we got the Lost Vikings.
We did, and like good, like amazing good, apparently.
So last night you were not online, but I was still having the heroes itch. I'm like, well, I can't talk about it. I guess I'll play it and stream it. So I got on there with our buddy D-Day. And he decided to just buy Vikings right then and then go into ranked play with talent-gated Vikings. And
Good.
and it went really well.
Wow.
I mean, we went 2-2, but yeah, he was it was just silly, man. Like, we were on Cursed Hollow and we're fighting over the curse and never missing out on XP because he's just got 2 other Vikings just on 2 other lanes, just hanging out.
He was applying himself. He just put that straight to 11.
Yeah, absolutely. The things you can do with the Lost Vikings is absurd. If you are somehow listening to this, you're a fan of Heroes of the Storm and you're not familiar with, haven't seen any of the previews about this hero, the Lost Vikings are 3 separate Vikings. It's absurd. You have Olaf, Baleog, and Erik, and it's just ridiculous. If you're a seasoned StarCraft player, you're probably going to love these guys, because you can control each of them individually or all 3 of them as a unit. And they're completely independent of one another. It's amazing.
Well, and my first thought was, like, this is going to be such a cluster at level 1. You're just going to have all these things thrown atop you, and then later on, maybe with augments, you can make things easier for yourself. But actually, the entire system is really smooth. You have nothing but passives at level 1. There aren't any active abilities because you're so busy controlling 3 separately and then using your number 4 key to move them all at once. Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, it is the hotkeys, and again, comes back to StarCraft. You basically control them like unit groups. So you have 1, 2, and 3 to select each individual Viking, or you press 4 to grab all 3 of them as a group. And you can actually have you tried playing them, Kyle? Because you can actually like box select if you're playing the Vikings.
Oh, drag across?
Yep, you can box.
I didn't even try because it just hasn't been a thing in the game.
Yeah, you can box select just like StarCraft. As a matter of fact, they haven't even changed the highlighting color. It's the green highlighting. It's the green box select from StarCraft.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's wonderful. They did such a good job with these guys. I personally, I'm still really intimidating. I haven't bought them yet, but after watching D-Day play them last night, I think I'm sold. I think I'm going to try it.
They're super cool. I mean, it's not my particular choice of flavor. If this was instead a Roach, a Zergling, and a Hydralisk, like, I'd be losing my mind. So, maybe someday they'll actually do something like a costumes for that. I'm absolutely expecting some skin in the future that is 3 franchises, which would be awesome. Just put Olaf in a, Diablo outfit and just spread it around.
Oh, that would be cool. I'm trying to. Well, you know what? Yeah, because you've got the StarCraft engineer and the Hyperion that kind of looks like a dwarf. You obviously have dwarves in Warcraft, and then I'm sure you could Diablify one of these guys.
Sure,
it's no problem at all.
Barbarian. There we go.
Yeah, done and done. So, but let's talk about their abilities real quick. You've got their Q ability, which is Spin to Win, and it deals damage around each Viking. It can be unlocked at level 4 by learning the Spin to Win talent, but you don't have to learn it, which is interesting.
Right, and that's the really cool thing about these guys is, you have your hotkey selects 1 through 4, and if you don't really want to go beyond that, you don't have to in the beginning. Though, adding abilities on top of it is really what's going to give you the edge.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Like, you don't have to overcomplicate it, but you absolutely can. And they're interesting, man. I tried them out on the test map. That was as far as I got, but
yeah, the test map. Yeah, because you have the pocket Malfurion following you around, it's so hard to tell what things actually play like.
Yes, and the fact that it's not a real battleground and you're only ever fighting a really dumb Arthas.
Yeah, exactly. Who's just charging you and being about the dumbest thing on earth. It's a great advertising ground, which I think is, why it is the way it is. You are going to feel awesome and incredible and purchase the hero.
Yeah. The other options for level 4 talents looks like they are all passive. Pain Don't Hurt, Baleog's basic attack and splash damage heal for 20%. Hard-Headed Redhead, Erik gains a melee basic attack that knocks the enemy away, and its Sabotage just gives Erik's basic attacks against structures to it destroys 5 ammo over 10 seconds. So, Spin to Win would be the only activated ability you can get at level 4. The W ability they can get is called Jump. All of the Vikings become temporarily invulnerable when they do that, and this is the level 7 talent. Last night, when DD was playing the Lost Vikings, We were fighting against a Brightwing who took the Emerald Storm?
Emerald Wind, yeah.
Emerald Wind. The big AoE gust that comes out as one of Brightwing's heroics. You can jump over it.
Huh.
And not be affected by it because you're invulnerable during the jump.
I think this has a little too much crossover with Murky at the moment. I know they just did a lot to Murky to kind of lower the power of his constant bubble in your face, but it has that feel to me.
How so? Oh, because of the invulnerability?
Yeah, because you're up in the air, you're invulnerable for this time, closing on people, getting away. It's a very annoying ability to give them. Granted, they don't really have an escape mechanic other than walking away. Actually, no, they do kind of have a siege tank-like thruster run that they can do.
Yeah, they don't have a mount, but if you hit Z, they get a big speed boost for a short amount of time.
It's just like the hammer one. It is great.
Yeah.
You get away from a lot of things. So I think jump seems a little bit repetitive, but we'll see what these, various passives. And they even have Merklord, which is interesting.
I don't even see that. Okay.
So 3 dudes wailing on one camp could be good.
Yeah.
Working with it then eventually.
Yeah, and 2 of these guys are ranged, so you could go in there with the 1 melee and kind of tank it. You could tank your own merc camps. Just playing these guys is unlike anything I've ever seen in any other MOBA. It's just bizarre.
When I first got a hold of them, my first thought was actually Roach Infester, because they control just like it. You have who's the Erik, the little quick one, who, like an Infester, is constantly threatening to just run out ahead and get himself killed. But if you actually control the other 2 and then do him kind of in the background on his own, you can have some great strategies. And in fact, at level 1, you can get an ability where if you stand still with him or Erik for 5 seconds, you become cloaked and have an increased sight radius. And I'm seeing a lot of people just, leave him in a bush. Just give that sight. I'm watching in case anyone tries to gank me, and then using him to get that final kill in the last few seconds as someone tries to escape.
Yeah, that's nuts. You can do some really fun things with these guys. Their E ability is called Norse Force, and they all gain a temporary shield. This is a level 16 talent, so that's your QWE. We already talked about their mount. It's not a mount; it's a speed boost on your Z key. But their trait is the fast restart. So the death time is reduced for all 3 of them, because they can each die individually. Which also just boggles my mind.
Well, with this last patch, we have the point deaths, where it's, this guy counts as a half.
Yeah,
not half, a fourth.
Have you played
a death?
Have you played against the Lost Vikings yet and looked at your tab screen? The death ratios are just bizarre to look at.
Yeah, it's like 2.25. Well, I guess I killed them. Yeah, I guess that works out, but it's still pretty odd. They did the same thing with Murky as well.
Yeah. Murky got so many changes, and I don't want to go down the Murky hole just yet. I'm so confused by the Murky changes.
We can back that up.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the heroic abilities. They've got Play Again, which is one of their options. All the Vikings are revived and teleported to the summoning Viking, which is interesting. I'm like, there should be a priest from WoW or something.
Sure, it is, the lesser of the ultimate abilities at the moment, but I think with time, when we're expecting these amazing StarCraft pros to make their way over to Heroes, splitting all the lanes, taking the Dragon Shire, and then, taking the camps and popping the dragon all by themselves while everyone else is busy, it's going to be incredible to see someone like, oh no, I'm getting wailed on, boom! All of the Vikings all together at once, let's spin to win, let's jump over and get something done. But otherwise, in the lieu of all the talents removing second health bars, we have Longboat Raid.
Yes, let's put a big highlight on things we don't understand. Basically, you've seen this in the trailer. They jump in the big Viking longboat, all 3 of them, and just start basically killing everything around them. The damage from this is absurd.
Yeah, frankly.
Yeah, I've played against a lot of Vikings this week. They're very popular right now, and I haven't seen a single game where the Vikings went for play again. They all go for longboat raid. I've seen Vikings just go up to a full health wall and just plow straight through it with longboat raid.
Well, and that's the thing about it. I mean, longboat raid requires all the Vikings to be in a certain area in order to activate it. So naturally, while people are starting out, keeping them together, it's going to be the superior choice just mechanically.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a second health bar. It's nuts, and I'm pretty sure you can't be stunned, or there was something else about it that was just insane.
Increased health, everyone comes together. The mortar on it is rather powerful, despite the fact that you have auto attacks just flying all over the place.
It's 30 damage per second for the. Oh no, the mortar is a 50 damage area effect. Obviously, scales, but that's absurd. Yeah, increased health for each Viking inside, last 12 seconds. Okay, so that's actually an interesting thing that I didn't catch before. So if there's only one or two Vikings in it, it'll have less health.
Right.
And it requires all surviving Vikings to be nearby. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I don't know. It seems really strong right now. I would be surprised if it survives in its current form.
Definitely. It is that second health bar. They just removed it on Tychus to an overwhelming degree. Granted, these guys, a lot more squishy. Surprisingly survivable because of Olaf. He does have a lot of tanky style talents that he can get, including getting block at level 1 if you want to do that. Has a great engage passive, does a bit of stun later on if you go for that again. So the shield ability, everything else kind of means these guys can get a lot done, a lot more than 3 Murkies working together would.
Yeah, absolutely. Olaf can get Olaf has a charge when he attacks, and at 16 you can spec into it to get a 1-second stun every time he charges.
But currently his charge only works when you're controlling him as a single player, which is interesting. I think it's a great choice because you're encouraging that from the get-go to even take full advantage of him.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that either. That's really cool.
Yeah, he'll just walk up to things. Then if you select over to 1, you can send him charging.
Gotcha. Okay.
Though he does sound a lot like the Swedish chef.
Yes, he does, which points as far as I'm concerned. That's wonderful.
Why not?
I want more heroes in this game that sound like Muppets.
Yay!
Thanks, Kyle. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. But that's it for now. I think I'm gonna break down and buy them this week, so I'll report next week what I think of their play style. Let's talk about the patch as a whole, though, Kyle, because there's a lot to talk about. First and foremost, before we move on, a lot of players are noticing if they're level 40, they're seeing a notice saying the Team League is available. It's not, though, so don't get too excited.
Nope. In fact, right now there's a in your profile screen, which we're about to talk about, there's a little button that says level 40, Team League available, not available in beta. So maybe not even available in beta.
Yeah, who knows? They might just be covering their tracks.
Yeah.
But while we're on that, let's talk about the profile screen. So I'm really impressed by it. I'm happy that it's live now. It's here. It's got a big overhaul. The big thing is that the summary tab has been enabled, so you can go in and you can see recent victories, most played heroes, total hero level, ranked play, win rates, games played with each hero role, and a bunch of other interesting stuff. If you're watching the video feed, you're seeing my profile right now and probably seeing the wonderful losing streak I went on in the middle of the week. But I love this kind of stuff, man. This is what we've been wanting, is more stats, and we're getting them.
Definitely. The timing of this screen, though, is rather bizarre and stressful. We all expected a lot of fixes to come to other heroes, bringing them up to par with what we consider tier 1s at the moment. And instead, things got jostled around in that department, and then we got a player screen on top of it that makes those losses feel more detrimental. And the end result of this is just the anger of trolls right now is absurd because you're affecting their permanent record.
How dare you?
There is also, no differentiation in the profile screen between Hero League, Quick Match, and Co-op. So you could have, an amazing win rate on various maps because you play Co-op.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. That's a really good point.
Yeah,
well,
you should have done it all last night, really padded that number out.
That's what I should have done before I recorded this little looping thing for the video show. I should have just went and got a bunch of wins and just being like, as you can see, I'm a total baller. And look at this lovely profile screen.
I'm the best. Yeah, my profile has revealed to me that I am just horrible at Haunted Mines, which I could have told you. But I am apparently 64% on Blackheart's Bay, my highest win rate. And that's rather depressing.
I have like a 75% win rate on Sky Temple. I think it might be higher now because we won another game on Sky Temple last night. So that's great. I'm really glad this is here. You got a match history tab, you got a statistics tab. The big thing to keep in mind, however, is if you're fortunate enough to have been playing since alpha, that a lot of these statistics have not started being tracked until this past Tuesday when the profile summary tab has gone live.
Right. So there's, all these heroes like, you've unlocked Takis, level 10. Click on his profile. 0 takedowns. Best ever. And wait, what? No, I'm great. I know I am.
Yeah. Now, there were some, moving on from the profile screen, it's nice and it's shiny, but there were some other changes this week, just generally to the game. We have a regen globe change. They now show the mana regen that they always gave, which I'm really happy about. Probably the biggest change though is rewind. It's now level 20,
which I like a lot.
Yeah. It's it feels like it belongs there. Also, I mean, my comments at the top of the show today, I do feel like too much stuff has too much, kind of high impact talents. Too many of them have been moved to level 20 and thus slowed down the game. When just last patch, we had all of these changes made in favor of speeding up the game.
True. That was the big beta patch. A lot changed, and now they're definitely going back in and trying to make auto picks go away. And I think putting rewind at level 20 is a great place for it, not only because it's a choice between augmenting your ultimate or whatever other abilities you may have, which there are many new ones. But now, when players see level 20 happen, it's like level 10 again. Everyone, they're 20, we're 19, let's hold off. And I think that's great.
No, yeah, it should be, but I don't know. For whatever reason to me, it just feels like it should be retuned a little bit more. It would still be a little quicker. John Z got on the horn and talked about a lot of these changes, and about rewind being changed specifically. He said that the power level turned out to be pretty nuts, and he said a sign that perhaps something is too powerful is when its presence makes or breaks the hero. Still, he said rewind is really fun and has the potential to create some unique gameplay, so that's why it was moved to level 20. It's been removed from a decent amount of heroes as well, as did Executioner. This is the talent that has basic attacks dealing 40% more damage against any targets that are slowed, rooted, or stunned. It's no longer on Illidan, it's no longer on Kerrigan, and it's no longer on Zeratul. I'm assuming part of that reason is they all had talents they could get that would stun or slow people. I mean, Illidan could get Blood for Blood, which has a slow. Kerrigan, out of the gate, has Impaling Blades and can also get Blood for Blood, and Zeratul's Singularity Spike also has a slow on it. So it was really strong synergy there, but that definitely wasn't the only reason this was done, because we got a bunch of new level 20 talents like we were talking about. And the very first one we're going to discuss was given to all three of these guys that just lost to Executioner. It's called Nexus Blades, and it provides 20% increased attack damage and basic attacks slow enemies by 20% for 1 second. So you can only imagine, Kyle, how just debilitating.
Right. I mean, in a team-based game, you shouldn't be stacking with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Executioner plus Nexus Blades equals fire on the forums. That's what I think.
And I like that Executioner's still around now, even for some, sort of bizarre heroes. I know Muradin can take it, but you know, a 40% increase in his damage with a nice Jaina in the team sounds pretty sweet, and it's worth experimenting with.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like taking that, you know, just flat, huge damage increases like 40% off of assassins.
Yeah, yeah. Sonya, Thrall, and Tyrael also have access to the Nexus Blades talent. And have you played around with anyone that has Nexus Blades, because it is so strong?
Well, with 20% increased attack damage on anyone that likes auto attacks like Illidan, sounds pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus a 20% slow on top of that every time you land a basic attack. It's
right. At level 20, I don't think a 20% slow is the biggest deal in the world. But, you know, if the team breaks and you all scatter to the wind, you're dead.
Oh, yeah. You're not getting away from it, Illidan.
And that's how it should be at level 20. You know, if you mess up, this game needs to end.
Right. Right. That's a good point. Nexus Frenzy is another new level 20 talent. It increases both attack speed and basic attack range by 20%. This is on Jaina, Raynor, Sergeant Hammer, Tychus, and Vala. I've been playing a lot of Vala this week, and Nexus Frenzy is great.
I've been playing a lot of Raynor. He got a huge rework on top of this, making his range just absurd. Yeah. And this has been an excellent choice.
Yeah, well, for Raynor, Jaina, and Vala, for all of them, but for these specific assassins who are relatively easy to kill, having an extra 20% range, it helps you stay alive in the late game.
Well, and, you know, everyone we just read here, Jaina's a little odd to me because the basic attacks aren't the biggest contributor of damage. Granted, you know, those who know how to stay in a fight contribute more than others. But giving this to someone like Tychus blows my mind. Attack speed and basic attack range. I mean, that's basically his whole problem in the game, is having to be so close in combat. You just destroy people, and they don't expect it.
Yeah. I mean, it's still relative, though, because then you have, you know, Jaina, Raynor, Vala, who are already long range, even longer range, and then Tychus is, like, medium range.
Right. It's not the biggest increase, and it's certainly no Sergeant Hammer.
Oh, absolutely. Giving the Sergeant Hammer just seems like... Well, why not?
Yeah, well, at this point, you know, whatever. The range is huge. The cannon's shooting across the map anyway.
We're going to get a Heroes of the Storm version of Steps of War, and Hammer will be able to just sit in the at the core and hit the opposing enemy's core.
Good.
It'll be beautiful. Heart and Shield, another new level 20 talent. You activate it to reduce all incoming damage by 75% for a full 4 seconds. It's on a 60-second cooldown, but as you can imagine, a bunch of warriors got this. Anubarak, Arthas, Chen, ETC, Muradin, Sonya, Stitches, Tyrael, and then, because why not, Gazlo?
Why not?
I'm not sure why Gazlo has this. At first, I'm like, oh, it'll help him jungle. But I'm like, at level 20, I don't think he's having trouble jungling.
To me, this just screams split push and getting out alive.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because your level 20 augmentations, they're powerful enough. Your Mecha Lord, your passive ability, you can increase your damage against heroes by 150%. And that's just all the time. Gravity Bomb, increase radius, all this sort of thing. But really at level 13, I think if you're going to be split pushing, you're taking Sprint. And Sprint plus Hardened Shield is going to get you out just about everything.
Yeah. 4 seconds is a lifetime in this game.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, a get out of jail free card. Fury of the Storm still exists. I think it was tweaked, though. Every 5 seconds, the next basic attack will deal an additional 200 damage to the primary target and 500 to each nearby minion or mercenary. This is on Gazlo, Nazebo, Hammer, Lost Vikings, and Zagara.
Which makes sense. This standardizes it for all the heroes. Otherwise, it was completely based on your own attack damage. So it was pretty much useless on anyone but like a Raynor who was taking advantage of that great attack in the first place.
Yeah. Now, this was all, I mean, all these level 20, we knew new level 20 talents were coming down the pipeline because we lost Resurgence on a ton of heroes, so we needed new talents, but we also lost Swift Storm this patch.
Oh no.
We need like an in memoriam little, I don't know, collage or something for it.
Sure, it'd be the tiniest of paper boats and the tiniest little bow and arrow to shoot the flame into it. Oh no, there it goes. A slight convenience for Asmodan.
Beautiful. Well, you mentioned the Raynor rework. Now, we're going to start talking about who got buffed, who got nerfed, but we're going to start with Raynor because he just got an overhaul. Starting with his trait. It is lead from the front is gone. It's been removed. That was his trait that enemies killed within a short time of being damaged by you reduced the cooldown of your abilities by 1 second. And enemy heroes reduced that cooldown by 10 seconds. He now has the trait Advanced Optics, so he has 20% more range than other heroes and 10% more vision, which I've only played him a few times this week, but super cool. I really like it.
It's a great passive trait that has no bells and whistles for the hero that you actually are introed into the game with. And this is a great choice. Lead from the front, it's just kind of complex. Not only is it something you have to like account for in the back of your head, but you could just randomly have abilities come off cooldown if you're doing great. And new players aren't really going to take advantage of that in the first place. So just 20% more range than other heroes is perfect for him. I still think it's not quite Raynor-y, but all his other talents and abilities really got modified into something that I wanted to see Raynor be as, you know, this rebel leader. So, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. You know, John Z brought up in his post on the official Heroes website that, you know, lead from the front basically required players to master last hitting, which is a thing they tried to omit entirely from this game. So it didn't make sense, A, for it to really be in the game at all, and it definitely didn't make sense to have it on the tutorial hero, the hero that everyone plays first and very likely will take into their first few matches against actual players.
Right, it's one thing to just kind of consider in the background that, oh, you kill a hero, cool, now your cooldown is reduced. But can you imagine, damn, I just need that shot to kill that hero as he runaways. Let me turn around real quick and kill this merc. That's too much skill.
No, exactly. It just didn't make sense with Raynor because of, you know, what he is, what you expect him to do. So, now, they said that the old trait, it's still around, but via new talents, and it's kind of been split up. Now he has a talent called Putting on a Clinic, which reduces ability cooldowns by 1.5 seconds whenever an enemy that was recently damaged by Raynor is destroyed. So you still kind of have this mechanic in there. And it's recently damaged. You don't have to get the absolute last hit, but you have to have recently shot the thing. And then there's a second talent called a Card to Play, which reduces his heroic ability by 10 seconds whenever any hero near him is killed. And this is ally or enemy. So seems kind of strange that you would want to, oh, you're going to die. Let me get near you.
Then I can unleash the pain. But it's a cool talent. If you really want to augment him back the way he was, you still can. But ultimately, the real change came with his auto attack build basically going away because they took away his searing attacks, which was the ability where you would spend mana every shot, but to increase damage. Then you'd stack that later on with Berserk, and you'd basically just be this auto attack machine, which is what I used him for in the past. You'd get in a group, you saw that everyone had drafted, you know, you got a tank, you got your healer, and then the other two assassins or damage dealers are spellcasters, or someone like Tychus who can get easily knocked aside, Nazebo whose ult can be interrupted somehow. Raynor was just, here's a contribute of just damage, and no matter what's happening. And he still kind of plays like that, but they did some really cool things, like giving him this Merc build, which in Team League, where I actually play him, it's just not, you know, very viable to be like, I'm Raynor, see you guys, like I'm off to the bushes. But you can do a Raiders recruitment, which is his personal version of bribe, much like Jaina has all her personal versions of other talents. And this allows you to actually only have 15 stacks in order to recruit a mercenary instead of the usual 20. Maximum still 50, but, you know, you get that extra stack in there. So all you're taking out is, you know, maybe the caster knight in the background.
Yeah, you can bribe 3 mercenaries, which is nuts.
And now he has Merc Lord on top of that. So if anyone is going to go take out a camp and then push with it, it's Raynor.
Absolutely. And I've seen some Raiders doing just that this week. I've seen a lot more Hyperion this week because that's what they'll do. They'll run into the bushes. They'll grab the bruisers. I want to call them the knights. And then they'll just push down the lane, drop a Hyperion, and that fort's just toast.
For me, he has replaced my Tychus for the moment. We talked about the Odin going away. For me, like an assassin, the real draw of them is that dude's running at you, and you go, nah, I ain't moving, just shoot him in the face, shoot him in the face. They get to you, they wail on you for a little bit, then they become scared and run away. And in that whole time, you kill them with auto attacks. And, Tychus just doesn't have that survivability anymore. But Raynor, with his passive to just heal himself up in the background, I've been loving him so much. And, you can augment that now that whenever it goes off, you're doing your Inspire. Everyone's taking the bonus attack speed, bonus damage. His feeling is there now, and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, he's... I like the new Raynor as well. Like I said, mostly been playing Vala this week, but I dipped my toe in the Raynor pool, and I like it. I love that his Banshees can now be pseudo manually controlled. You're not like box selecting them and dragging them around like StarCraft, but you can retarget them.
Yeah, you do have to have a target, though, to bring them down, which has messed me up a little bit. I think it's great that you can retarget them. But I like to just, take a camp, take something that I knew I was going to have to defend and bring them down just in case, because when they pop around that corner, they were ready to go. And whoever I auto-attacked, it would basically focus on. There were some weird times where Lily was running way, way in the back, and I was still trying to auto-attack her and not attacking anyone in the front, so I was targeting the right person. The new version's great. You can target it with an ability. The only problem is it is an ability, so if you're turning in Blackheart coins and you want to retarget the Raiders, it's going to interrupt that channel.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So I was about to say, I don't know why you would want to bring it down until there's a target. You're just burning up your timer, but no, that makes sense. Well, sweet, man. Was there any other points I didn't bring up? I mean, there's so much to talk about that we're kind of hitting the highlights. So if you haven't read the official, the entire notes, I would recommend go and take a look, because there's a chance we may skip over your hero today. But is there any final notes on Raynor's rework you wanted to bring up before we move on to talk about just kind of highlight buffs overall?
I posted a build for him in Twitter, and I was just completely flattered and impressed with the skills of people playing out there. People reported back to me just like 5-0 winning streaks with this build I put up, and it was basically all in, your first aid, getting yourself healed back up and just staying constantly in the fight. I love Raiders, Raiders, there we go. Because I don't have to augment at level 20, and I can take that new Nexus Frenzy, which is just incredible.
Yeah. All the new level, if it says Nexus something, I just take it now.
It's good.
Regardless of which one it is. Nexus Frenzy, Nexus Blades, they're both really good.
And actually, just last week, I was talking about how we're missing that long-range counter for Stitches. Hammer couldn't be it because, she's sitting in the same place all the time. She takes no advantage of that extra distance to get out of the way of the hook. And now it seems like Raynor is actually kind of our anti-Stitches, which is awesome.
Yeah, I like it. And we need an anti-Stitches because the games last night, Kyle, we lost every game where we didn't draft Stitches. We won every game where we drafted Stitches.
That's what it feels like.
It's a little ridiculous at the moment.
Everyone I play with, if you invite me to a game and, we're just having a good time, I make notes in the background as to who's good at what heroes. So when you say, hey, can I join that game? I look at you and I go, oh, I got that note that you're really good at that particular hero. Sometimes I don't make notes. Most of my notes are if you're good at Stitches or not.
Because you want one. You and I both don't really play him. We come from the school of other MOBAs where we never really played the hook, the abomination knockoff, whatever it was.
And if you think you're great at Stitches and you're not, that's worthy of a note too, because you're delusional, sadly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're good Stitches, we want to play with you.
You are welcome here.
You have a home. But let's talk about the buffs overall, shall we, Kyle? Because there were a lot of them spread out among many, many heroes. First up, let's talk about Abathur because his evolved monstrosity got buffed. The minion stack bonus has been increased by 1% from 4 to 5, both health and damage. The health of the monstrosity has been increased from 600 plus 60 per level to 600 plus 72 per level. So the scale's better, so it's going to be stronger later in the game. And it also now takes 50% less damage from minions and structures, so it's going to be even better at kind of helping a split push.
I gotta interrupt Jim Bob's in the chat room. Dude, you're an awesome Stitches. Don't let that conversation dissuade you. We were just scared that we were gonna go up to 4 players and fight pre-made teams, man. We hadn't had a win in a long time.
Jim Bob was our Stitches last night.
Oh, awesome.
He was the one who led us to victory.
Well, perfect. Yeah, I was just talking about the games we had. Where, dude, you are just becoming an incredible Uther. I'm loving you on that hero.
Oh, I know I am awesome. I'm such a great player at this game.
At least you're a little bit humble. I'm always bragging about myself in game. Ooh, yeah, I'm awesome. Hey, got that kill.
I mean, you heard me yesterday. We played that one game. I'm pretty sure I yelled, "I am a god" at one point.
Well, yes, but you did, as a ghost, protect the dragon shrine for a good 12 seconds while we were able to cap it. It was one of the more amazing things I've ever seen.
Yeah. Granted, that wasn't the part where I yelled, "I am a god." We were on Dragonshire. The opposing team was trying to take the bottom bruisers, and I was like, "Guys, let's hide in this bush." And there were like 2 of us or 3 or whatever, I don't know. And I'm like, wait, hold, wait until they engage the bruisers. And then I just ran in, Divine Stormed all of them, double stunned the Brightwing, and it was just over.
My water elemental was going off, and I was level 20, so that thing's casting its spells while I'm casting my spells. Ben's just wrecking everyone within the Zebo. He's gotten really good at that. I found this week that I'm not really the best teacher for people because of my experience with Dota. I'm so used to people being like, I don't really want to play this old Warcraft 3 mod. There's better games in the world. I'm like, no, stay with me. Please play this game I love so much. So I'm always saying only positive things. And people are like, well, what did I do wrong? I'm like, well, I don't really know. I didn't take notice.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Abathur, Evolved Monstrosity, buffed up quite a bit. And seems kind of bizarre because everyone's thinking, yep, okay, Evolved Monstrosity is basically the pick you would have if you're a heavy symbiote player. And, copying a teammate at the moment isn't the hottest thing on Earth, unless you've got like a Jaina or something like that, where their basic attacks and abilities are just so great that there's no point in taking anything else.
Getting a second Blizzard onto the field is really strong.
Right, but that's like of all the heroes, a Raynor is great because of the basic attack damage and the range.
Yeah, and now
hammer,
and now you're making me want to stop talking about the buffs again and start talking about our games yesterday, where you and I were just bosses as the Jaina Uther combo. I would stun them, and you would just drop the Blizzard on their face.
Oh, that was an excellent combo.
It was beautiful.
We get a lot of emails of people asking, what should I play with just one other friend, and that is a good work.
Yeah, Jaina Uther's works out pretty well.
I'm also a fan of Team Ice, doing Arthas with Jaina. That goes a long way.
Oh, yeah. No one's getting away.
Exactly.
No one is going to escape from that. All right. Have you played with Uther or Abathur? Do you like this Evolved Monstrosity change?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the idea of the Monstrosity is you put it a little bit back. Every minion kill it gets a bit more health and damage. That's been increased. Its health is increased. It does less damage, or takes less damage from minions and structures, which is great. It's what you want it to do. Though there is a thing now, whenever it dies, it counts as a 0.25 hero kill, much like Murky or Lost Vikings, which seems odd. Punishing you for using your ultimate and kind of ignoring it. Isn't that sort of the thing? You just want to send it off and then symbiote some other more important heroes?
Yeah, that does seem a little weird. But then again, I don't know. You have to incentivize folks to want to kill this thing.
Right, and if it's just pushing a lane and not actually hitting towers or anything, it's accomplishing a goal. And I guess it's great that you should enforce people to go over and take advantage of that. Ultimate Evolution, though, it's the one that has the issues right now. I think this was a great buff for Abathur, but that ability needs to be readdressed.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's talk about Diablo, because we're just starting with all of the dudes you play right here at the top. Diablo got
actually they're in ABC order, but yes, that's how it worked out.
Well, Kyle, apparently you play in alphabetical order.
Yes, actually, it kind of does work out that way.
Well, no, because you also play Jaina and Tychus, and they're further down the line, so not really. But Diablo did get a small buff, which we were really excited about. And then we read what it was, and we're a little less excited. It was only +4 basic attack added on to his to the damage he does. So he's hitting harder. But his Fire Stomp got nerfed for I literally don't know a reason. I don't think anyone on the Heroes team could actually explain this in any way that makes sense.
Dude, this was like Christmas, and there's that.
Yes, it's like Christmas if your parents gave you a present and then took away something you already had that you really enjoyed. Here you go, son. Here's something new that you'll really like. By the way, that train set from last year, it's out of here.
Right, they told you, it's going to be a smaller Christmas, but, still be excited about it. You're like, okay, cool, that crazy, stupid thing that I asked as a child, a giant game console. They said it was going to be small, but whatever, the magic of Christmas. So I'm waking up Tuesday morning, I'm like, yes, checking the patch notes on my phone, get down to Diablo, and I see +4 bonus damage per level. Okay, scroll, this is really short. I'm expecting a rework. They took away 2 of my fireballs.
Yeah.
At 10, now I have 8. What's going on? But really, the true champion is that they fixed all the bizarre bugs that were going on with him. The fact that when he pushed someone, it was sometimes not the full length of the push. And sometimes, depending on which way they were facing, they would just be pushed to safety or pushed in a completely random direction. And those are all fixed, and they put the fluidness back in his overpower into slam, which they took away because, early on in the alpha, it seemed super powerful to just be able to walk up to people and slam them into a wall of towers. Nowadays, with all sorts of other abilities like Kerrigan having to be good at the draw you into a stun circle, making it more fluid just makes sense now. And I'm so happy it's back. He's actually sort of playable, though we still wanted that Christmas morning update.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed to have worked. I've seen a lot of Diablos this week in my ranked games. I mean, he still doesn't even come close to Stitches in terms of like, well, if I could pick any warrior I want, just pick Stitches.
And that's the problem, really, is that, Diablo's good now, but he's not going to heal himself, really, other than his, getting those souls together and kind of building that background regen. It's just there's better warriors to pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk
about... We'll see. He still doesn't have custom buttons either. They haven't redone the art or anything, so his update's still coming. I was just a little sad.
Yeah, still. It's nice to see people actually taking him out of the garage. Moving on to Kerrigan now. A lot of her underused talents received buffs, and the scaling on Impaling Blades has had a damage increase, which is the big thing. And does this hurt now? I got just insta-gibbed by a Kerrigan last night. Whole team's down. It's just me as Uther and Kerrigan and I think a Stitches. Oh no, I wasn't playing Uther. I was playing Vala. Sorry. Kerrigan and Stitches are pushing this wall. The wall's still up at full health. I'm like, well, Kerrigan's damn near dead. So I come up and I start shooting her. I'm literally 1 arrow away from killing her, and she just primal grasps me into an Impaling Blades, and I just explode behind my wall. I was just instantly killed.
All her icons got updated as well, and they all look like her hair flying in the wind.
There's been so many art updates, which I don't even think we even included them in the notes because there's so many to talk about. But have you played Zagara this week, dude, or played with one or against one? Because the Hydralisk, the Mutalisk, and the Roaches all received art updates, and they look so much more badass than they do even in StarCraft.
I know, dude. I've been itching so bad for Legacy of the Void. I've been playing through the campaign. I beat Hard the Swarm last week, and I've started up Wings of Liberty, which, by the way, Wings of Liberty brutal. So much easier now that there's a select all army button for Terran. My God, that was impossible in the past. Now I can actually play the damn game.
Oh my God, you're making me want to replay through that.
But Zagara's new looking just Zerg units, they're so sexy. I mean, they are cool looking. I am hoping that that's some sort of preview for Legacy of the Void.
Me too. Those I can't get over the Hydralisk. Like they look like they do in that flashback cinematic in Wings of Liberty, where you see Kerrigan bite the dust.
Right, they're just highly detailed, and I can understand why in a massive strategy game with that many characters pouring over each other, that you may not want to have that level.
Yeah. Muradin, because he needed a buff again. Haymaker wind-up was reduced because Haymaker wasn't already really good after the last change. Some of these I just can't. I can't not be a snarky ass about it. I'm sorry.
Well, why not? It is just kind of what we expected from this patch was to bring everything up.
This is no. All what I expected.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying this, this was a shock because we expected balance to happen. And really, the only reason we're expecting that is because of Hero League, which is making all these various imbalances very clear, particularly because trolls are going to be angry about your level of play. And you know what? Frankly, as much as I hate them, trolls are often really good players. And they're
Yes.
right most of the time.
Yes, it's a really necessary evil.
Yeah.
Because they absolutely do help balance the game. Because the more vitriolic piece of jerks you have out there calling out everything wrong with the game, eventually it will cause a shift.
Right, and as much as it sucks to say, have someone yell at you, "Don't ever play that hero in here again." There's no commend system. The harassment, spam, those options aren't really the best right now. If you really want to affect other people's gameplay, it kind of comes down to right now telling them to stop playing what they're doing.
Yeah. That's the thing. And I don't want folks out there to start sending us emails being like, why are you defending the trolls? That's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. We're just bringing up a side effect that I don't think we've ever touched on before of trolley behavior. I can't stand these people. They're terrible. They
are. And
they are literally the worst thing about these types of games.
I was haunted for a good 24 hours by a particular Lily troll you and I had together.
Oh, that Lily. That Lily has to have some life problems.
Oh, sure. I can
know.
go as far as I want, imagining that they hate their job and they come home and they waited all day and this is their one chance. And we performed poorly and wasted 15 minutes of their life. And that, I can see why that fury would come up. But, messaging you in game, telling you to never play Heroes League again and play co-op for 3 months. Then when it's over, whispering me to tell me yet again these things. It just, you always compliment me on my ability to avoid trolls. Really what it comes down to, Garrett, is I never get targeted because I'm decent enough. So when I actually do get targeted, I'm like, whoa, hang on, dude. Like I actually do no, you're not talking about me, right? Because I'm okay. And when they continue to target me, it affects me. I'm a sensitive man.
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, this Lily, it was funny, everyone, because if you don't know Kyle or you don't play games with Kyle, Kyle never engages anybody. I engage everybody. If anyone has even the slightest, like they let the tiniest little snark fart out of their mouth, I'm just, all right, let me just unload on you because you overextended there and you don't know how to heal and you're really bad at micro and oh my god, what are you doing alone? It's level 18 on their side of the map, you piece of crap. And I just start going off. I'm never the one to initiate it, but oh man, if you just, if you kind of like give a little jab, I'm just like, just like Beetlejuice, just open my face and horrify everybody.
Sure, you're ready to go.
So yesterday when you engaged that Lily, I'm like, oh my god, I've never seen Kyle do this. Oh, he must be so pissed off.
Oh, just being illogical gets me. And when you can't see why the Stitches and the Lily have the highest damage in a game we're losing, it's because you're the healer and the tank. Of course you're going to be hitting things more than Tychus because you're being healed and you're the tank. You're in there.
Also, that Stitches had like 4 more deaths than any of us, and he was having the most damage because he was just engaging all the time in things he shouldn't be engaging.
Had literally 90 more damage than me and was touting about how amazing he was and how much I sucked. Oh, that was its own thing, man. I had to work through that one.
Yeah, we know there are block and report features. They're not the best thing. We really do need a commend system as well. You need something to weigh it out. You need to reward people for being nice and playing well as being able to kind of negatively impact trolls and just all around not fun people to play with. But moving on. Damn you, Murin, and why'd you get a Haymaker buff? It made me go off on this whole thing.
The wind-up was dumb, frankly, and it was very easy to skirt around him so he'd punch you completely the wrong direction if you were watching for it.
Yeah. Sonya got some changes. Basic attack damage has been increased. The fury per attack was increased, but the cost of abilities was also increased. Wrath of the Berserker got an overall buff, but she did have one small nerf. The activated abilities like Stone Skin cannot be used during Whirlwind. Okay, so it's not really a small nerf. That is a sizable nerf. But Johnsy got on in his posts about these changes, he said that Sonya's got problems, some balance problems, and also design problems. They said that the original intent for Sonya's trait Fury was to evoke the same kind of resource mechanics that the Barbarian does in Diablo 3, but that hasn't been the case in Heroes of the Storm. She either is at full Fury or has no Fury. She can use her abilities with impunity, or she can't do anything at all. So clearly something's wrong. So that's why they made these changes.
And they're good. They balance each other out. They change her gameplay a lot. A lot of Sonya lovers have been really enjoying this patch.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Sonyas this week. So it's like, as much as I'm like jabbing at some of these changes, clearly I'm happy with some of the results because I'm seeing a lot more play from heroes that I haven't seen a lot of lately.
Right. We're 3 days after the patch, though. We had different expectations. Now we're coming down from our high horses and realizing what good steps in the right direction these are.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, Zagara, small buff, Mutalisk stick around for full duration even if the target dies. So they're kind of like Banshees now.
Small buff, it's a huge buff.
Yes. Why not Hydras too, though, if you're going to give it to Mutas?
I don't know. Maybe because they're in the air so they can see more things to attack. I'm not sure.
You're reaching right there.
It's not in the Mutalisk tooltip either, so it's not like one of their special augmentations at the moment.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a good point. Huh. So you just have to know it. You just have to know that this is a thing. Right.
For now, just know that Mutalisks are the superior choice.
Good to know. But I like going... isn't Mutalisk on the same talent where the increased range and damage is?
Exactly.
I prefer that, and I like getting doubles. And I just like
It's so cool, dude. And just the fact that, it's called Hunter Killer, I don't want to turn it into a Mutalisk.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I want two incredibly pissed off Hydralisks just charging down someone's lane. It's great. Zagara, man, because so many people like had their damage kind of reined in, and Zagara hasn't. I've seen so much Zagara this week, and she is just destroying.
Yeah.
It's really, really impressive to see, actually. I'm going to finally start taking Zagara out in ranked matches that aren't Sky Temple.
I think with time, people are going to learn to, target down Hydras. Right now, I love Raynor's Raiders because people don't really take the time to kill them. They're too busy wailing on each other. And things like Jaina's Water Elemental, all these abilities with time will be a lot worse. Because we'll all just respond.
Yeah, you and I, we play a lot of pickup games, and I almost feel like the Hydralisk is it's like nerfing, or no, sorry, the Mutalisk is worse than the Hydra. Because for me, like, I notice almost nobody doing anything about the Hydralisk, but everyone notices the Muta and runs away from it or shoots it down.
That's a good point.
Like, if you're in a big creep wave, no one notices the Hydralisk because it's not much bigger and has the same style health bar.
I think that's because it just kind of gets lost in there in the ground troops.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love me some Zagara, man. But let's talk about some of the nerfs, which also there were many. First up, Anubarak. He had a 0.25 second reduction on his stun. His burrow charge cooldown has been increased, but Web Blast also got buffed, so he wasn't just completely in the nerf category.
Right, but who uses Web Blast?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
There are better ways to deal with things, but Anubarak's Web Blast is a cool choice against something like a Vala going strafe if you don't have an option to deal with it. A Nazebo using his ultimate. But ultimately, Anubarak's sitting in a weird place right now. Sonya buff put her back in the meta to an extent. I think we're just going to kind of have this side category building for a while of heroes like Sonya, Anubarak, and even Illidan that are sort of these off tanks as long as they are continuing to engage.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good point. I never even thought of Illidan, but you're absolutely right. You ever tried to kill Illidan when he has teammates with him? It's really hard.
It is. He's all over you, and you have no idea what his cooldowns are because his auto attacks are just reducing them.
Yeah.
If he specs for that.
Yeah. Arthas got a nerf, unfortunately, and I played him this week. I don't know what to do with him right now. Envenom's gone. You can't get Envenom. Rune Tap now only heals for 3%. And the talent that made Frozen Tempest big but cost more mana is just gone. They said it was moved, but technically it was moved, and now it just costs less mana and there's no size increase.
Well, they did increase the size naturally and let you make other choices with it. And that new choice is to reduce the mana per second early on rather than increasing the size of it.
Yeah,
the size thing was just an auto pick, and that's what a lot of these nerfs were targeting. Is just it seems bad because Hero League is open, but we're just gonna get rid of all the auto picks and see what people pick.
Yeah.
And Envenom was one of these too. It didn't make sense. I'm looking forward to something being, put back in a Jaina form of it, a creeping ice veins that still does, poison damage, but is augmented for him.
Yeah. I do have to say though, this is the hero I got to try out Hardened Shield on, and damn, Hardened Shield is fun. You just feel unstoppable. Yeah. It's good. It's a good time. Brightwing got hit pretty darn hard. Overall, her health has just been decreased across the board. She no longer has Bolt of the Storm. Polymorph costs more mana, which I'm okay with that one. I don't care. Don't mess with Polymorph any other way. I'll pay more for it. It is so good. Phase Shift now has an even longer cooldown, and Pixie Dust got nerfed. So just really just kind of took her down a notch on every one of her notches.
If there's one patch you're going to do this in, make it the Lost Vikings patch. Because a Brightwing plus Lost Vikings is rather insane. There's no other hero. Maybe a Rhaegar that could take advantage of 3 heroes to heal at once. But Brightwing's still incredible, still the top pick healer. Bringing her in line, I think.
Yeah. Didn't lose Rewind, just moved to 20 like it was for everyone. So she can still get that when it is very strong, but yeah, Brightwing's still good. I wouldn't worry. If you're a fan of Brightwing, I would still absolutely play her. It does make Lily still seem a little stronger by comparison, and
for the damage build at the moment. Yeah,
and Uther is still just a god when I play him.
Which, on that topic, we got some great feedback from our last episode about our healer damage builds. People seem to have a bit of difficulty figuring out the Lily Serpent one, and in fact, I made a small mistake. That tooltip got changed, and now just auto attacks when you're around enemies, which is a superior choice for heroes just in general. Which
I apparently missed you saying, because I know I knew that, and I know I jump at the chance to correct Kyle on air. So.
Well, thank you. Keeps the show accurate. But people out there were reporting great success with the Malfurion build, which I've been enjoying this entire week.
Yeah, me too. It's fun. Chen got some minor nerfs. His attack speed's been decreased, and his talents some of his auto pick talents have been removed, and he received just overall a big talent reorder. They've all been kind of reprioritized.
And for Chen players out there, you probably put that a little lightly because they feel like they're hurting.
I don't know, man. I've seen, I saw D-Day playing a lot of Chen. Chen's still really strong. Storm, Earth, and Fire is still absurd.
Sure, I think to them, they lost all their damage, is what it feels like. And Chen is just an incredible tank, and he doesn't really need it for the rest of our eyes.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. As someone who really only ever dabbles with Chen, I don't consider him a main, so I'm definitely biased. It's not something that's close to my heart, but hell, I'm biased about Brightwing, and I agree with the changes they made. I don't know. Warriors should be lower on damage and high on health, and that's what Chen is.
Yeah.
So, and he has a second. You still have a second health bar, which when we get to Tyke's, you'll notice is missing. So stop crying, people. I'm over here mourning Brightwing right now. I need a moment. Murky, the one that set so many people off. Murky got a talent reorder. Gathering Power is gone. He doesn't have that anymore. His reveal time when his egg is killed has been increased by 5 seconds, bringing it up to 15 full seconds, where you are revealed as Murky. And his rejuvenating bubble only heals 50 health.
So I'm okay with this, frankly. The rejuvenating bubble is one of the most annoying abilities in the whole game. The fact that you would wail on a Murky. He could turn himself invincible. Sure, okay, we expect that. But to regain all of his health was just too much work. I think 50% is a great place for it. The problem is, of course, Murky doesn't happen in games a lot. So things like Gathering Power, the fact that you are now revealed longer after your egg is done, it just felt out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, then the one thing we are mentioning here is the buff to his spawn egg trait, which it's the cooldown has been drastically reduced from 45 to 20 seconds. But it just seems like all of these other changes still kind of weakened him to the point where I mean, I straight up, I haven't seen no Murky, not in quick match, not in ranked.
Right. Well, and really the talent order is the big hit to him because it's what gave him his early pushing power. And now some of the augments for pufferfish that you would get in order to take out those towers have been moved later. So you get the ones that you got earlier now, which aren't quite as useful as those great things, in the 4-7 range.
Right, exactly. Slimy pufferfish went from level 7 all the way to level 16.
Yeah, which I think brings it in line with a lot of other heroes who aren't really damage heavy, but then at level 16 get that big augment. It's just, it hurts.
Yeah. Again, this kind of shift towards like no one really gets strong until significantly later in the game, which I don't know. It seems a little odd to me because of their desire to want to make games short.
I think it just plays a lot into their just forcing people to know that it's about team fighting for the entire early game, and you are not a star until you are ahead on levels and, with those later talents. Murky, however, did get an update to his StarCraft skin, and instead of wielding a gun, which he was a long time ago, then they put it back to a fish. It is now a tiny larva, which is adorable.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, check it out. It's fun.
Oh, we'll definitely have to go check that out. Sergeant Hammer, Bullhead mines. Only the middle mine now does a knockback. So the mines, if you don't modify them, there's 3 of them, so only the middle one will have the knockback effect.
Right, and Emerald Wind on Brightwing at higher levels does multiple pulses, and it's pretty common for people to just keep charging into it over and over again and get pushed back and take all that damage. The mines, however, chase you. So the old version where all the mines knocked you around, any melee hero got pretty messed up.
Yes, absolutely. It was a good talent to take. Now, I still feel like it's going to be fine. Having knockback on even one of those darn things is going to be good. But I've seen a lot of hammers this week, and they're doing just fine.
They're doing fine. This was really the only documented change. But hammers just feel incredible in general at the moment.
Well, they can get at level 20% more range.
Exactly,
so,
and attack speed.
Yeah. Like, if you take gradiating range plus that, you're going to have to, like... You can shoot farther than you can see if you're trying to keep hammer on your screen.
Right, and I do agree with Select in the chat that because of that ability at level 20, it is making some auto-pick choices along the way for other range talents, because you need more range, so you augment more range, of course.
Yeah, yeah. I always liked graduating range, so...
Yeah, no, it was good before now.
Yeah, absolutely. Stitches had a notable nerf, but it wasn't enough. His hook cooldown's been increased by 2 seconds, and gorge damage got halved, but they're still tearing it up. Stitches is just a solid hero. It's
a self-heal on a tank that does damage and heals you. There's no choice like Arthas's Death Coil or anything like that. So, and again, size of patch notes, it was so tiny in comparison to what we were expecting.
Right, absolutely. And that's both the base damage that Gorge does and the scaling on it. So it used to do 200 plus 50 per level. Now it does 100 plus 25 per level. It was completely halved across the board. Thrall got some big changes, and he's another hero I'm pretty lost with at the moment. I was playing a ton of him before Tuesday. Now I'm a bit confused on really where to take him. Battle Momentum has been removed from him. That was the talent that had basic attacks reduce ability cooldowns by half a second.
Which makes sense.
It does. It was so strong because it, with Wind Fury, you pop Wind Fury and your next 3 attacks happen super fast and they count as basic attacks. So stack that with Battle Momentum and it was just insane synergy.
Yeah.
Now, and his healing was decreased from 20 to 12%. That's the one that's on his trait. And Chain Lightning got nerfed. Now, the healing reduction in the Chain Lightning thing was not actually in the original patch notes. It showed up on, all they said was battle momentum removed, and then everyone's out there playing Thrall, like, why do I suck now? And then later on, we got a post from, I believe, Spirian on the official forums saying, oh, yeah, guys, the heal amount was changed and Chain Lightning. Basically what it was is, so on Frostwolf Resilience, the trait, I'm not even sure, what is this thing in the notes that says trait healing decreased from 20 to 12%? I don't even see that anywhere. Because what it says here...
That was, so when I made these notes Wednesday, that was our best guess. This is a patch note that actually came in after the fact because they're like, oh, whoa, we implemented this when we weren't planning to. And there were quite a few hidden patch notes in this, leaving a lot of people who work in the tech industry going, Blizzard, what are you doing? Of course you document every patch note you make. It seems like some changes for future patches worked their way in.
Gotcha, okay. And the other thing, in their defense, it is a beta. Like, they do have an out. They don't need to report it all. That being said, I play a lot of Thrall. I would have liked to have known this because the heal amount from Frostwolf Resilience, it was 49 plus 36 per level. It is now 60, so stronger right out of the gate, but you only gain plus 23 per level, so the longer the game goes, the weaker it is by comparison.
Right. I think Thrall just has the problem a lot of melee heroes do for new players, in that sometimes you're a god on the field and other times you suck because you're behind and there's no real way to feel like you can contribute again. And you're still running in like you're a god from that previous game.
Right. Yeah. No, that's the thing with Thrall. And again, I've been seeing a lot of hammer this week, and if you're fighting against any melee hero, and you're fighting against hammer and their team is doing a good job of protecting the hammer, you just feel like you can't do a damn thing.
Yeah.
And as Thrall, it used to be like, oh, they've got a hammer. Cool. I'll just run in and start fighting and I'll heal myself up. But now that the heal's been diminished, you're not attacking as fast, so you're also not healing as much. That's the other thing about it, is even though, yeah, it's strong out of the gate, you have less scaling, not the biggest deal in the world, but because of battle momentum not being there anymore, you're not getting your stacks of Frostwolf Resilience nearly as fast, so you're not healing as much.
Right, so your expectation changed. So it's understandable that after this patch, you're going to be hurting in your play style.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've talked to plenty of other friends who play Raw regularly, and they've figured it out. I just haven't sat down and ironed it out. That's why I've just been playing a lot of Vala and swapping to Raynor this week for my assassins, because I'm just like, I'm not sure what to do with Thrall. So that's another thing I'll be working on this week, and I'm sure I'll be talking about it next week, because I love Thrall, man. I want to keep playing him.
Sure.
Tychus, this is probably the biggest change everyone's been talking about. Odin no longer has a second health bar.
No, and in fact, its abilities have been rather switched around. Now, so your giant explosion line across the map is exactly the same, but your mini missiles are now targeted into an area, no longer targeting nearby heroes or any enemies automatically. So there's a bit more skill involved with aiming that in the first place. You now also have a third ability when you first take Odin, where you can slide much along the lines of what you can normally do with Tychus. So it kind of keeps him, you're trading in all the tiny attacks for big attacks, but you're still keeping your slide of survivability. And in fact, if you use your slide escape, go in your Odin, you can slide again. It's not on the same cooldown. It does look real silly. I mean, this giant mech just kind of doing a little, hockey slide across the ground.
Yeah, it does. It is pretty absurd. But,
maybe if we had like some fold out little wheels on, Optimus Prime has those wheels on his legs. If he ever took a knee, I could still see him zooming across the map.
That's the thing. I feel like Odin's still good. I still see plenty of, because Tychus is still absolutely a wonderful assassin. I've still seen plenty of Tychuses this week. This by no means took him out of the game. Now we're just seeing Drill actually used, and I'm remembering, oh yeah, Drill was actually good. Odin was just amazing and had to be picked.
Right, well, because it's that second health bar, you could surprise people with your amazing survivability with the first aid, with the stone skin. No one was really going to kill you, and that was your biggest threat. Now there's all those players that were already picking the mining laser and doing great, staying back, playing very, squirrely, survivable. They're just incredible people now. And I have stopped playing Tychus because I'm like, take it. Much like your throw, I'll figure this out later. Enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. But Odin it's still fine. You just have to come to it with a different mindset. So I'm seeing a lot of Tychuses. They pop into the Odin before they hit the battlefield. So they'll be behind a wall or in a bush, construct Odin. All right, here we go.
Right, and I was using it as an emergency button, and at level 20, I would use it in that way because of the increased duration. Now it's just something you have to do. And I think Tychus, in general, this works great into their plan for hero picks, not to be so much because they're good, but because of what map you're on. And now Tychus has a role with Odin on these maps that are heavily defended. And then mining lasers, an even more incredible choice there. So maybe we have a bit of overlap with the alts.
Yeah. Tyrael got some changes. Cast Aside is just gone, and the Purge Evil Smite build has been reduced.
Right, so they took away, your talent to increase the damage of Smite. It was a bit of an auto pick. They're seeing what other people are going to choose. Tyrael, another hero we were hoping would be brought in line with Stitches, instead got his auto picks taken away.
Yep. Yeah, again, still seeing Tyraels. Still doing okay. Oh, man, and that one on Dragonshire yesterday, dude. I could not get the knight. That stupid Tyrael.
Yeah, he was good.
He had it.
He knew when to use his ultimate ability to get away.
Yeah.
That being said, I still have not seen his other alt in months.
Ever, I think. The last nerf we want to talk about is Zeratul. His Bolt of the Storm is gone. And Void Prison pauses the camp capture. So if Void Prison is on the camp, you can't capture it.
Which is nice.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very happy about that. Someone when we were starting up the stream last night, I forget who it was. Someone in chat room was like, "Oh, I'm so sad that they removed that." Oh no, it was someone I was playing with. I think it might have been Jim Bob. May have been Jim Bob, and I was just kind of like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that they balanced the game and made it correct."
Made so you could just follow around the Gazlo all game. That being said, it's still important that you're on top of the camp when you come out of it. I've seen a number of Zeratools using this to grab everyone in ranged and then get in, kill the one hero left, and take the camp anyway.
Oh, absolutely. You can still get off a camp kill, but it requires way more skill. And it's impressive finesse now when it happens, as opposed to just being like, oh, that was cheap. Now it's like, oh no, man, your positioning was on point. Well done. So I like it. I'm happy with that change. So that's the patch in a nutshell, at least the things we really wanted to highlight.
Right, there's a lot of other things. There's a lot of minor things that weren't written up. Some things snuck in from future patches. And, well, one other thing that changed is in the Heroes League screen, Sylvanas got replaced with a Nova picture, which makes me a little sad because it makes me wonder, is Sylvanas not next?
Oh, the artwork. Yeah. I noticed that too. I don't know. I'm not worried. We've seen Sylvanas. They've mentioned her many times. We know that they're working on her, so we'll get her at some point. I have no idea who the next hero would be if it wasn't Sylvanas, though, because we haven't heard about anyone.
That's really the only one we've seen actually have pictures on a map running around.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a Kael'thas model at one of the PAXs, I think.
Right, and we've seen a really darn cool-looking Skeleton King. We've seen a Butcher, but they haven't been on a map as though, being tested.
Yeah.
So it seems like Sylvanas is next.
Yep. They won't be able to take my money fast enough. I don't care what she is. I'm such a Sylvanas fanboy. I'm going to play the crap out of her.
We're all excited. Kristen's losing her mind. I'm probably not even allowed to touch her because of that.
I'm sorry, man, because every time you play, it's going to be with me or your wife, so...
Right, and you're in trouble. Sylvanas.
One thing we didn't want to mention, there are all kinds of posts on the official forum site, or official hero site this week. But Spirian did get on and made a blog post about the state of ranked play and talked a lot about the rank system and what's good about it, what's bad, and what needs to be fixed. And he said that Heroes is a highly competitive game and that they wanted to create a ranking system that clearly reflects the skills of its players. And they said that with this in mind, they decided to split the system into 50 different ranks and made each rank represent roughly 2% of the Hero League population at any given time, so that players can more easily identify how they stack up against the rest of the Hero League player base. So if you were to, say, achieve rank 10, he says that you can generally assume your current skill level is among the top 20% of all Hero League players.
Right, so you take this change, combine it with a permanent profile, and then what people were expecting out of the last patch, it's been a bit of a troll's dream.
Oh, how so?
Just, I think I'm better than everyone else. I should be at this rank. You're the one keeping me down. You're affecting my record, and the heroes I wanted didn't get changed. Anger online.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
That being said, I'm so happy to see this. It got slightly implemented over the past couple days before the patch actually happened. I was seeing scores of like 101 after a game and losing 49 points instead of the standard 60. So it's good to see that this is actually a divided system. And yeah, I don't really know if I've noticed. I've been playing most of my games with you guys, which I'm at rank 21 at the moment. And I know you guys are in about, what, like the 30s?
Yeah, I'm in the mid-30s. I think I'm 35, 34.
So that probably throws a real wrench in it. When I play by myself right now, I'm having excellent teams.
Gotcha.
50-50.
I'm sorry that our unskilledness is bringing you down.
No, that's not what I meant. But because I play with you guys, I feel like we get some wackier teammates.
Yes. Yeah, we certainly do. Yeah, last night it was my first time being able to play with a 5-stack team, all on Skype for like a good 2 hours. So much fun.
Sure.
Oh, so much fun. I wish I could always play like that, but sometimes it's just like, well, I've got an hour. I cannot find 4 other people right now. I just need to get in and play some games.
Right, exactly. And with time, this will iron out. There'll be more players in the pool, and it can pull us all together, more people queuing up at the same time, so they can, okay, well, you guys are this good, but this good. We'll put in this guy to even you out. Hopefully it won't be as strong as 3v3 StarCraft has been, where it's like 2 platinums and a bronze player because you guys are fighting silvers. And
that's that's the script for a sitcom I'm working on. 2 platinums and a bronze.
I like that.
Before we take some emails, I do want to thank everyone who's supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN. That is where you can go and you can subscribe to the show for $1 a month, $5 a month, however much you want to give. Completely up to you. So those of you who are supporting us over there, we really appreciate it. Thank you to Adam L. and Scott V. this week. Those are the patrons we want to thank. And it's been really cool so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So check it out. Patreon.com/ITN. Let's take some emails, Kyle.
Darkness stopped calling.
Hold on. Darkness just texted me.
Okay, tell them I'm not here.
It just sounded like someone was in my house and I'm losing my mind.
Oh. do you need to go?
No, I'm fine.
Arm yourself with a baseball bat and
I have so many heavy. I have a mixer here that probably weighs a good 20 pounds. I could beat him with. I'm fine.
There's enough things to throw at them if they come through my door.
Exactly. Now they're all expensive, but whatever.
It's your safety.
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. I'm also going to pimp the Reddit one more time. Go to itncast.reddit.com to submit stories, talk about the show, share cool stuff about heroes. It's a good time. Our email today comes to us from Paul. And Paul writes in and he says, I like to wait until I have 2 to 3 dailies, so I might knock multiple ones out at the same time. Today, I have the Warrior one and the StarCraft one, and I am finding out that there is unfortunately no StarCraft Warriors. Tychus would have been an obvious choice in my mind, but since they already used him an assassin, I'm assuming as an assassin, who or what in the StarCraft universe would make a good warrior? Along the same lines, who would make a good support from Diablo? Anyone else you can think of from anywhere that you'd like to see added? I'd like to see the Diablo followers sometime because I found the Templar and the Scoundrel so entertaining. Oh man, I want the Templar. Just running around yelling about John Da.
John Da.
You were a Templar, John Da.
Yeah. Oh man, you could have the Templar, Tassadar, Uther, and Tyrael, and just have Team Justice. You need one more in there.
You have Imperius.
There you go. Yeah. Well, he's a bit more retribution.
I don't care, man. Imperius needs to be added to this game yesterday.
That's true. Justice does demand retribution, as we've learned.
Demands retribution. Yes, thank you, Hearthstone Uther. We really appreciate it. Yeah, and that's a good point. And now that dailies have been in this game since alpha, but now that we have like a nice little dailies tab, a lot of people I've heard a lot of people having this discussion. I don't know who would. My first thought is Commander Warfield as a StarCraft warrior.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many damn people we're going to add to this game that are wearing marine suits, but I'd like to see him, with his robot arm and.
Sure, I think Warfield would be a specialist, summoning a bunch of little marines. Maybe dropping a tiny barracks that spawns things.
So like the Terran version of Zagara?
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Oh, that would be really neat.
I could see him being, tanked up, though. He is thick. Did die to a, spoiler alert, about 4 years ago, but did die to a beam.
That is true. But I mean, if you're going to go out.
Yeah, why not? They just updated, we talked about Zagara's updates. They also updated the Kerrigan Ultimate with the Tarask, the Ultralisk running around.
I think we talked about that last week, didn't we?
No, they did a new one, actually. It's jazzed up high res like the new ones are. For StarCraft, I would love to see a Tarask just as its own hero, but it looks like that's not going to happen. When you start thinking about other things, like what do you have, like Saul from the ship?
Yeah, Saul could work.
He was practically Gazlo in that one mission in StarCraft, Wings of Liberty.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they could honestly probably make him a Gazlo skin.
Yeah, that's true.
You could have just an SCV. You play the SCV and it's the warrior or something. I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
Why can't I think of the name of the awesome Russian dude from Heart of the Swarm?
Oh, Stukov?
Stukov. I don't know what his moveset would be. Dahaka could be a warrior.
Dahaka's a great one.
Yeah.
I think that would definitely be a warrior. Maybe an ult that summons his primal Zerg. We know Stukov has files inside the game right now. In the Heart of the Swarm campaign, which I just finished, he had a long-range blast and could summon some infested Terrans. Not really a warrior ability, and he was slightly ranged. So yeah, StarCraft Warrior is a big mystery if you're not doing a straight-up unit. I would love to see, we just talked about too many dudes in suits. I'd still think it'd be cool if generic Marine, John Smith.
It just straight up had the exact same VO from StarCraft 2.
Exactly, and it's just go 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 is his first ability. Standing by is his second one.
Go go go. Spawns a barracks as his ultimate, and just a conga line of Marines run out and starts stutter
there we go.
Just go. Oh man, that'd be amazing. Just call in a barracks. Just lands, body blocks everything in the area, and just spawns a crap ton of Marines.
You know what? Phoenix could actually be a warrior.
Yeah, that's true.
Particularly if you kind of merge what the old Dragoon was and what the new Immortal is. Because the Dragoon doesn't really translate directly into a Stalker.
No, not at all. In the spirit of Dota too, where they just took Warcraft, whatever unit they could find in Warcraft and made it a playable hero. I mean, you could throw a dart at a board of Zerg units and just roach, a controllable roach. There, it's a warrior.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of things we can think of, but the warrior is actually, Paul poses a hard question. Because we can think of tons of units that,
Yeah, and I agree with Paul. If I remove myself from knowing how the game is lined up right now, Tychus seemed like he could have been a warrior.
Yeah. I think we were all a little shocked during Alpha at the lack of survivability Tychus had.
Yes. He was one of the first guys I played, and I was like, oh, nope, no, not for me. Not what I was expecting.
Big dude, minigun. I mean, even the dude in Predator lasted a little longer than an assassin.
Well, he ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I love Two Tree's suggestion in the chat. Completely unrelated, but for Mephisto to be a support, I think that's an awesome idea.
Who's Mephisto?
He was the bad guy in the first expansion, Lords of Destruction, for Diablo 2.
Ah, gotcha. I never played Diablo 2.
He had Kerrigan hair and Asmodan legs, basically.
Oh yeah, I know. I know what he looks like now that you tell me who he is. But
yeah, it looks like a cackling witch nose and all that sort of thing. Just auras and stuff like that would be awesome. Frankly, I think the monk is going to be support.
Yeah, That would
I
make
would
sense.
love to see. Take the application of self-healing heroes and just move it around in an area effect. Maybe even not affecting you directly. Every time they punch things, you're getting mantra heals.
Ooh, that'd be cool, like a battle healer.
Yeah.
Basically what the monk is. But then, yeah, I mean, you cross over into specialist territory. Although,
Oh no, I described Belial, didn't I? All right, I got to Google's.
Belial has Kerrigan hair?
Mephisto, regrettably. I always skip through all of Eckertane's talks.
I'm trying to think of Belial, man. I don't think he had Kerrigan hair.
No, okay, yes. Okay, so Mephisto was in... Oh, right. He was that ugly-ass dude, the Lord of Hatred.
Oh, gotcha. That's why
Yeah,
I
who
don't
was
know
like
who it is.
half ghost floating around.
Oh, yeah, his entrails are just kind of hanging.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he was the one tied to the World Stone, was it? Either way, I think Belial's a great support.
Yeah. Oh, now I want to go play Diablo and StarCraft after all of our discussion today.
I know. There's too many games to play.
Yep. Well, thanks for your email, Paul. And again, send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. That's going to do it for this week's episode. As always, thanks again to our patrons over at patreon.com/ITN. If you're leaving us reviews on iTunes, that's awesome because it helps the show get new listeners a lot. So thank you. This week we wanted to thank Katreya Sound is how I'm deciding to pronounce that one. Also, thank you to Broadway Blues and D. Keebs. Thank you guys for your iTunes reviews. Really appreciate it. Into the Nexus is produced by amove.tv and Declan H., our patron producer. You can see more about this and all of the other shows that we do over at amove.tv. Check out the subreddit, itncast.reddit.com. We record usually live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Kyle's internet was out last night, sorry. But that's over at twitch.tv/amovetv or on alphageekradio.com. You can follow us on Twitter at ITNcast. And go check out Brian Griffith, who made the music for our show, over at briangriffithmusic.com. Kyle, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Kyle Ferguson. Follow me over there if you enjoy talking Here's the Storm, because I've just been tweeting up a storm about that and enjoying everyone who has been talking back, sharing builds. It's a great place to just chill. Go to kyleferguson.com for my weekly Dungeons & Dragons articles. This week is all about making up descriptions for monsters because for some reason they don't have them in 5th edition. You can show your players a picture, but you also have to do like that, oh, here's a picture in the book, but I'm using my hands to cover all the stats so you guys don't get a sweet look at his AC and cheat.
That seems like a huge oversight.
I know, right? So this is all about going through, like, he's small. You see a small stat, okay, this AC, and then describing him based on, what the stats actually are and leaving some things a mystery.
Ooh. Okay. All right. I'm down.
Yeah, breaking down that game terminology, because it's not WoW.
Awesome. Well, folks can follow me on Twitter at GarrettArt or over at, you can find me or find my portfolio over at nomoonart.com. I do graphic design on the side, so if you need a graphic designer, go check it out. And also on The Anger Chicken, a podcast about Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft. Every Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. That time may be changing soon. We'll let you know Monday. And just because we're not running ads anymore doesn't mean that the codes from our sponsors are any less awesome. Use the code ITN over at doghousesystems.com to get double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. That same code will get you 30% off and free shipping off of your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds from tweakedaudio.com. So go check that out. We thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week. Good luck and have fun.
Take care.